My name's Jewel, and I work for Essex Cheese, and I manage our education and marketing programs. I'm really excited to introduce to you a king of cheese. It's called Cravero Parmigiano Reggiano San Pietro, and is made in the Modena region of Italy, aged in the famous caves at Cravero in Piedmont. I want to share with you some really important information today about the history of Parmigiano, why the Cravero family chose its producer, how it compares to its commodity counterparts, and then most importantly, the techniques Giorgio Cravero implements to make this Parmigiano Reggiano fit for any table. So let's get started. The history of Parmigiano Reggiano dates back to the 12th century, when a woman from Genoa traded her house for an annual supply of formaggi di Parma. This cheese gained popularity in the 17th century of French nobles requesting Parmesan, meaning of Parma, which then is where the name comes from, and many cheeses began to imitate it. So in 1612, the Duke of Parma drafted a document forbidding imitators to use Parma in their name, but only in 2009 did they officially receive the protected name Parmigiano Reggiano. The rules of Parmigiano Reggiano detail such as the cows must live and cheese must be made in Bologna, Mantua, Modena, Parma, and Regione Emilia, nowhere else in Italy. The feed for the animals must be 50% hay, of which half must be from their own farm. The cheese must be made using raw milk, partially skimmed, traditional rennet, whey starter cultures, and aged for a minimum of 13 months. All of this is to preserve the taste of terroir specific to an individual producer and to have a cheese that can be the cornerstone of every Italian kitchen. 330 producers make 3.7 million wheels per year, but an average cooperative makes over 80,000 wheels a year, while others less than 3,000 wheels. So the question is, are the cheeses different by producer? The Cravero family has been aging Parmigiano Reggiano in Bra, Italy, located in Piedmonte, since 1855, home to the international slow food movement committed to reconnecting the public to where their food comes from. In fact, the Cravero family was integral in building those relationships and starting this movement. They have always worked tirelessly to source cheeses made according to tradition, using the best ingredients, making a high-quality cheese. Giorgio says that you cannot make a bad cheese good by aging it. You must start with great cheese. Giorgio Cravero ages cheese from two producers, and we import one of them, San Pietro. The head cheesemaker is Massimo Libra and has been with the cooperative since the early 2000s. The cooperative includes 5 dairies with a total of just under 200 cows. They use only 100% local hay and fodder for their cows, which goes above and beyond the PDO requirement. PDO meaning protected designation of origin. They do this to fully express the terroir of their high mountain location in the Apennines, with over 350 different spontanea arabica, or natural grass. Massimo only makes 60 wheels a day by hand, individually in each vat, cutting the curd and adjusting timing of rennet and cultures to ensure the right texture and consistency. At 13 months, just over the minimum time the cheese must stay in the production area to not violate the PDO, Giorgio buys the cheeses and transports them to his caves. He ages the cheeses for an additional 11 months to then sell. For Giorgio, Parmigiano should be a table cheese that you can enjoy with prosciutto, salsicce, some focaccia. It should not just be for grating on pasta. It is something to highlight on a cheese board, just like any other mountain cheeses from France, Italy, and Switzerland. But the perception of Parmigiano Reggiano as a grating cheese has much of the aging techniques of other producers, pushing the cheeses in warm environments so that they lose moisture quicker, which means they can be sold sooner. Giorgio's goal is to honor the work Massimo committed, collaborating with the dairies on local forage, cutting the curd to the size of a quinoa grain to provide a tighter knit, performing every task by hand, and aging his own natural caves for the first 13 months. For this reason, Giorgio turns off all temperature-controlled systems between the months of October and April to allow the caves to match the exterior temperatures and slow down the maturation of the cheeses. With cooler temperatures, the cheeses do not sweat and preserve their moisture while developing deep flavors of pineapple and nuts with a savory finish. It is a soft and sweet cheese worthy of just enjoying on its own. In 2017, the Parmigiano Reggiano Consortium realized the smaller producers were struggling to stand out in the market as different compared to their large commodity counterparts. The number of producers was shrinking every year, while the number of wheels was growing by the thousands, meaning small producers were being consolidated in order to cut costs and streamline production. Desiring to preserve the identity of unique cheeses, they created an additional designation called Prodotto di Montagna, meaning mountain project. Of the 330 producers, only 30 would receive this designation. The criteria was they must be located at a minimum elevation of 700 meters. They must use at least 60% forage from the local mountains to feed their cows. It must be aged in the mountains for the first 12 months, but then aged a minimum of 24 months before being sold to market, and not before being tasted by batch to ensure the highest of quality. The best part about this is that these were all things that San Pietro has been doing for decades, but was now finally getting recognition from the community as unique and exceptional. Cravero Parmigiano Reggiano was the first PDO Prodotto di Montagna available in the United States in 2017, and we are so proud to support it. I really appreciate you taking the time to learn about our wonderful cheese, Cravero Parmigiano Reggiano San Pietro. If you have any more questions, please do not hesitate to reach out at racheljoule@essexcheese.com.